As the new school year approaches, communication can play an important role in a child's confidence and classroom experience. To help us understand the signs parents should look for, we are welcoming our guest and your guest in the studio, Khadeejah Buabbas, certified practicing speech pathologist. Good morning, and really pleasure to have you in Good Morning Kuwait,
Good
Ms.
morning.
Khadeejah.
Pleasure is mine, and thank you for having me.
With the school just around the corner, many parents are starting wondering whether their child is truly ready when it comes to communication, and what are the everyday signs that tells a child is ready for the classroom.
Yeah, so when we talk about going back to school or school readiness, we don't really mean just reading and writing and literacy or communication. It's even more than that. We have to see how much the child can understand from following instructions in the classroom, how much can they...
interaction.
Yep, interaction, paying attention, focusing and understanding all of the instructions that the teacher is going to say, as well as being able to communicate with their classmates and taking turns, sharing, all of these different skills that are also included in social skills.
Amazing. So it's not about speech, the pronunciation only.
It's not just about that.
It's more beyond that.
Definitely, it's more beyond that. It's beyond speech. It's communication, interaction. It comes before even language. Exactly.
Answering, responding, basically.
Yeah.
Parents often compare their child's speech with siblings, cousins, or classmates. How much difference between children is considered normal, and when is it worth checking with a specialist?
Good question. We definitely do not recommend comparing children. There is a huge broad of difference between skills. So it doesn't really matter the difference between children. Each child develops separately at their own terms. As long as they develop age-appropriate skills, they use age-appropriate communication, language, understanding, following instructions, social skills, that's fine. We don't want them to be following a certain guideline. That's very misleading, and it puts a lot of pressure on the child. But if we see and look for the development and progress, participation in daily activities, their ability to communicate their needs and what they want and express themselves is more important than where are they supposed to be comparing to others their age.
Indeed, and even the environment of each student definitely differs than the other. So definitely some people, they have a lot of parents, you know, they are talkative, they talk a lot in their house, and there are some houses you see complete silence.
True. Yeah.
And that would affect.
Of course.
Am I correct?
Yeah, that's an environmental factor that we really need to take care of and pay attention to, because a lot of especially young families and new families, they do not really have the skills to play with children and develop their language. So we do notice a lot of delay in the first child in a newly family.
But I know this is out of context, but it's very essential that the father or the mother play with their kids.
Of course, definitely.
That develops a great deal of relationship and consequences. On that, one of them is speech and laughing
and language and communication and social skills. Children learn best from their parents. Children learn best from their own environment. So if we know how to facilitate, how to stimulate their language and improve their skills in their home environment, we're going to see the best results, and we're going to see huge improvements.
Amazing. So after a long summer with more screen time and less structured conversation, what simple things can parents start doing now to encourage more talking, listening, and interaction before school begins?
Well, this is a struggle, especially during these times. It's been a while. Yeah, that's very bad. But the goal is not to eliminate iPads and not to eliminate screens, but to develop shared time where communication, interaction between parents and their children and children amongst themselves is most important than just being on their screens all the time. So making sure that we have at least, let's say, 15 minutes shared time between the family, whether parents and their children, children amongst themselves, doing a lot of reading, story retelling, playing games.
So what you're implying, you know, there has to be a time management. There is time for the iPad or screen time. There is time for activities. There is time for talking to each other. So it's like that. Of course,
and there's shared time where we can just turn all the screens off and just remember to play. Remember how to play, especially the old games, hide and seek, I Spy. And sometimes, you know, even when we're in the car, that's a really good screen or no screen time where they can just play I Spy, they spot different things. Riddles, exactly. What is something that starts with the letter A? Can you find something that starts with the letter A, for example? So we don't want parents to feel the guilt of using screens, especially during this time. So it's no guilt that the children use screens all the time. We just want to compensate for that time, and we want children to have a better, let's say, not really time management, but shared time. 15 minutes is more than enough to have very, let's say, useful interaction to develop this.
Yeah, definitely. And even the screen time. This is a global issue. It's not only, you know, in the Middle East or in Kuwait. Definitely, it's a global issue. Many children in Kuwait grow up hearing and speaking both Arabic and English. Parents sometimes worry that two languages may confuse a child or delay their speech. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I get asked this question a lot, and thankfully, no, this is not true. Children can and will learn as many languages as they can comprehend, and there is no limit to that as long as we use them appropriately, and we do not, I don't want to say mix, but we do not confuse a child by using weak languages or by eliminating a language that the child is learning. I see a lot of parents sometimes eliminate Arabic and try and use English all the time when it's not the main language and it's not the appropriate language. They don't use it appropriately. So that's taking away from the child rather than adding to the child. So what we want to do is we want to add both languages. Children who use two or more languages have more vocabulary than the regular child with one language. Yes, they might use code switching. They might use English and they might use Arabic. Because exactly, that's what they have and that's what they do. And we do this as well most of the time. Exactly. Well, that does not cause language delay, but language delay can be tested and can be seen in different scenarios and different situations, whether we have a child who uses two languages or more languages, and that's not the cause of a delay or a disorder.
Indeed, and it's even like on top of that, you know, what Ms. Khadeejah Buabbas said, even speaking Arabic is very essential because it's the Holy Quran language, and also our prayers, you know, in Arabic language. We can't, you know, pray in English. Definitely, this is why we have to keep in line the Arabic language and then the English language.
Exactly. So basically, if we use proper Arabic and proper English, children are going to develop language systems that are not confused or not develop a disorder.
I don't know, like I read this report back in a month ago about people who speaks, who speak more than one language. They say they don't get dementia, or it comes to them very, very late, you know, unlike others.
Of course.
I don't know, is that true? Because
yeah, I read some research about that, and it's backed up by neuroscience, and it's basically explaining that the more we grow up and we continue learning, we encourage our neurons to keep active and keep firing up. And that does definitely help with, let's say, reducing the risk factors of dementia, Parkinson's, and whatsoever.
That's amazing. So sometimes a child knows the answer but struggles to explain it. Ask for help or follow the teacher saying. How can these difficulties affect their experience at school?
Well, of course, being school ready, being able to attend to class does require more than just being able to read and write and sit down in the classroom. The child is required or needs to understand what's going on. We cannot expect a child to follow instructions and understand and answer on a worksheet if they cannot comprehend simple words. If they cannot follow one instruction, the teacher might be already in their third instruction and the child is still trying to process the first instruction. So what we want to do is we do not want to exclude these children, we want to develop their skills.
Indeed.
We want to focus on their strengths and build on from there. We want to enable teachers to also know how to deal and interact with these different children. So maybe, for example, using simple language, using smaller sentences, giving time before adding another instruction. That helps children who struggle, and we do tend to have a lack of assessment for these children, so they do tend to fall in the cracks.
Amazing. So some children are very talkative and comfortable at home, but once they enter the classroom, they become quiet and hesitant. When is this simply part of their personality, and when should parents pay closer attention?
So if we notice a child that is very active, very social in their own environment, and when they go to school, they do tend to be a bit quiet. That could be a bit of, let's say, shyness, a bit of being their own personality, being
This
quiet.
is normal.
This is, we expect it to be part of their own personality.
Okay.
However, if we notice that the child is being restricted in their environments, they do not participate, they do not answer in classroom, they do not have friends, they do not even express their basic needs.
So there is no communication.
There is no communication,
And then
whereas
we have to worry.
at home or with a special person that they feel close to, they do communicate. Then we do need to see and look more into it and assess, because there is a condition called selective mutism, where a child is comfortable talking to one person, and along that comes a lot of anxiety and stress that is embedded there, and we do not see, and it comes out as that behavior when the child does not need to talk.
Some children become very aware of the way they speak, especially when classmates comment on their pronunciation, fluency, or stuttering. How can this affect their confidence, and how should parents and teachers respond?
Well, with stuttering, we always recommend that we do not want to comment on it. We want to give time to the child to express and take their time, even if they take long when they stutter. But we cannot force that on children in their classroom. So it is very common, unfortunately, that bullying happens in the classroom, and it does affect the confidence of children.
Bullying is everywhere.
Exactly, but we do need to restrict it. We do need to put limits, and we do need to be very aware and sensitive to that, because it does impact the way children communicate, and it does affect their confidence as well.
A child's ability to speak and understand language can later influence reading and writing. What early signs might parents notice before these difficulties begin affecting schoolwork?
Well, we do need to focus on using language, the way they express themselves, the way they put words in sentences. That is a very important sign before going into, let's say, oral language or letters and sounds and how they can read and hold a book. We do need to make sure that they understand verbal language so that they can develop their reading and writing skills. There is something called phonological awareness. It's their awareness of where are sounds in the word, rhyming skills, what letter starts or what word starts with what letter, what's the end of that word in terms of letters, and so on. Their awareness of words, their awareness of verbal words is going to affect their reading and writing skills, which is what we call pre-literacy skills. And that's a very good indicator of their academic skills later on at school.
If a child already needs a speech or language support, what can parents and teachers do, together to make sure the child feels supported rather than different from the other children?
Well, first of all, collaboration, making sure that we are here to support the child and we are here for the benefit of the child, all of us, whether teachers, parents, speech pathologists and other clinicians as well. We need to be sure that we are ready to help. Also education, raising awareness and making sure that we do notice the signs that these children do not fall into cracks and get labelled as being naughty, as being inattentive, as being behaviourally difficult, because they have a hidden difficulty that we cannot detect. So the best thing to do is consult with speech pathologists, consult with the specialists to make sure that these children get the support that they need.
Ms. Khadeejah Buabbas, we are out of time. Any last message?
Well, I do recommend that if you notice your child is struggling or has any difficulties and signs of disorders and difficulties, consult with speech pathologists.
Great thanks to you, Ms. Khadeejah Buabbas, and Good Morning Kuwait. And hopefully we see you more and more in these interviews.
Of course, sure. Thank you for having me.
Helping children communicate with confidence can make their return to school much easier. Khadeejah Buabbas, certified practicing speech pathologist. Thank you very much and thanks for joining us today. And definitely we'll go for a break. Please stay tuned and don't go away. We'll be back.